You're listening to the What's Happening podcast with Gary Watts.
So good morning. I'm here with Shannon Greene with the Ronald McDonald House. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How are
So
you?
I'm excited. I've been excited all morning to talk about the Ronald McDonald House. So if you want to bring us up to speed, maybe start with your background.
Sure.
And then we want to get into what is the Ronald McDonald House, but we'll save that here for a few minutes.
bet.
Tell us about where you're from, how you got to Iowa City.
Sure.
Are you a native Hawkeye? What are you?
Yes. I grew up on a farm in St. Joe, Iowa, and that is in between Algona and Humboldt, if anybody knows north central Iowa.
Great ground, right?
Great farmland.
The best farm ground around.
Yes. And my folks still farm. My dad's 85 and still farms
Really?
full time.
Good for him.
Can't get him to slow down.
How many acres?
I think over the years, he's sort of given away some acres, about 650.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good-sized farm.
Yeah, it's neat to still be able to go home to, where you grew up.
Great fertile soil and very deep black dirt. Right?
Very deep black dirt, yes. And everything's flat,
Right,
1 mile
right.
squares, yes.
Yeah.
So grew up there. I went to undergrad at Central
Oh,
College
really?
in Pella.
Right.
Go
Pella
Dutch.
Dutch, right.
Yeah, go Dutch. I had a great experience there and then came to the University of Iowa for grad school.
Okay.
And like a lot of people, I thought, well, I'll stick around a year or two, but I'm going to go somewhere else. And then you realize, why go somewhere else?
Right.
Iowa City in this area is fantastic.
Right.
So after grad school, I got my first job working in a nonprofit with substance abuse and mental health, and have worked in nonprofits for 28 years ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about substance and mental health. I mean, I know just my own perception of the mental health part is it's so it needs more funding. It always seems like
yes.
it's. And I can't imagine after the pandemic, with all the and all the things that went on. But tell me about why is it always tough to get money for mental health?
Oh, I think you hear the word stigma, and I think things are better, but that's still there. It's not concrete. It's not something you can wrap your arms around. I think when we talk about health with other medical conditions, it seems more real. Mental health is as real as anything, but it's a tough one. So I'm really glad to see that society's changing a lot. Athletes are talking about it.
Right.
There's more out there for folks in terms of support.
Great. So now you're University of Iowa, nonprofits. So let's get into Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
So how did you get there, and give us the start here?
I was working for the Blue Zones Project, if you remember that, in Iowa City. It was a community health initiative. It was a short project, 2 years. I knew it when I took the job that it was a 2-year thing and I'd be on to the next. And so when that started to wrap up, I was thinking, what is my next investment? What is my next career? Something that's going to be meaningful and matter and help out in our community. And it just worked out great that there happened to be an opening with Ronald McDonald House Charities, and I actually started off as our director of operations, and that was in 2016.
Now, before 2016, what did you know about the Ronald McDonald House?
I think, honestly, I knew what a lot of people in the corridor know. There is a Ronald McDonald House.
Okay.
It sits by Carver. They help families and children, but I did not know in depth what all goes on there. And it's been amazing to learn and be a part of it.
Give us a history. Why did Ronald McDonald, how did they get involved? What was the first Ronald McDonald House?
Yeah.
Go way back here.
Interesting history. Go back to 1974
Wow.
in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And it was actually a Philadelphia Eagles football player who had a daughter with leukemia. And they were navigating that, in and out of the hospital and so forth. And they were seeing other families and parents around them that didn't maybe have the resources or means they did, who were sleeping on hospital floors, who were trying to, make ends meet. And at the same time, there was sort of a pioneer. Her name was Dr. Audrey Evans. She was the first female head of pediatric oncology in Philadelphia. She's seeing the same things. These families come in, and it's not just the kiddo that is affected.
Right.
The brothers, the sisters, grandma, mom, dad, and she's identifying a need. And it all sort of came together. And so I believe that someone with Philadelphia Eagles was connected with McDonald's and actually Coca-Cola. Those were the two first big organizations that stepped up and said, let's talk about this. Let's make this happen. And they opened the first house, and they named it Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia. And to say it's grown since then is an understatement. There are, I think, 185 houses in the United States and 388 worldwide. So it's an entire network now.
So who funded it? Ray Kroc, the
Ray
founder
Kroc.
of McDonald's?
Yes, yeah. There's endowment money, seed money for every chapter,
Really?
which is, an amazing start because how do you scrap together a nonprofit, back in those days, and then private donations, just people stepping up and saying, hey, this is a need. We need to be supporting these families and recognizing that the family unit is affected when you have a child that's sick. So what can we do?
So anyways, he funded just Philadelphia or all over the country?
All over.
Oh,
Our
really?
chapter has seed money as well. Every chapter has received Kroc money as part of that sort of endowment that helps keep those resources going.
Is that part of that? When they give you change, you can put it in the Ronald McDonald House at McDonald's or
Yeah, that's a separate thing, but another important thing. And it kind of to jump to our name, it helps explain our name.
Right.
So we are Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois. It's a long name.
Okay.
But that name has nothing to do with who we serve. We serve families from all over. The name has to do with the local McDonald's whose support rolls up to our chapter. So all of the McDonald's in Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois, when you drive through, and if you put your change in, or you ask to round up, or if they have a special promotion, those funds come straight to our chapter, the Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois McDonald's. But we serve families literally from everywhere. Our Iowa City Ronald McDonald House, we've served all 99 counties in Iowa, all 50 states.
Really?
And I think we're up to 64 different countries from our inception in 1985.
Tell us about the. That's amazing. I didn't know you're worldwide.
You wouldn't think of that, but
no.
we've got world-class healthcare right in our backyard here in the corridor, and there are some specialties that bring people literally across the world.
So the building is right next to Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Yes, go Hawks.
Just west, yeah. Did you watch the game last night?
We were there last night. That's why my voice is kind of scratchy.
You got to see the GOAT, her last home game.
Oh, my goodness.
That was something else, wasn't it?
What a game. And
I watched the very end of it, and it was fantastic, just the last couple minutes.
It was
I thought
intense.
It's really tight, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, West Virginia was playing great D, so.
Yeah, their defense was amazing, and we came out with the win, so on to the next.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. So what year did they build it? And then tell me how they built it. Who raised the money? How did it happen? Because I kind of remember it was the early 80s, and I remember them out chasing money and trying to get it put together.
It was. The house officially opened in 1985, so early 80s.
Okay.
They were starting to talk about this and wanting to get this together, and with the idea that it was going to be a Ronald McDonald House. But before you can get licensed and your name, it was called the Children's Living Foundation. Huh. And it was just local hospital folks. Helen Rossi, Bump Elliott was involved. I'm going to blank on his name, but at that time, the head of the hospital. And
Colleton?
They said,
John
yes,
Colleton.
John Colleton.
Yeah.
Thank you. I shouldn't blank on that name. That's a
well known.
big one.
Yeah.
But they got together and said, we need this here. We've got, great care in pediatrics. We're drawing families here. We need to support families as well as part of our health care.
So 85. So how much did it cost and how much money did they raise back then?
Oh, gosh.
And then also, did the U give them the dirt? They give them the lot?
Yes. The university provides the land on a no-cost lease.
Good.
We still live there on a no-cost lease. We're about to extend it actually for the next, 20, 30, 50 years.
Right.
They've been fantastic in that way.
Great.
Because that's key. You've got to have a Ronald McDonald House that's close to the hospital. That's the whole point, that families can walk there, or it's a short drive if they need to get there quickly.
I think another thing, when you think of Ronald McDonald, all kids know who Ronald McDonald is. Mm-hmm. And he's a clown outfit or whatever.
Right.
His big feet or what.
Right.
So I think that when you think about it, it's recognizable with the name in McDonald's. That's really neat.
Yeah, it is. It's got, that national branding, but the really neat part, and especially for me having worked in nonprofits, is that we've got local control. So we're licensed as an independent chapter. So we're a 501c3 just like any other nonprofit here in town.
Here's a little trivia on McDonald's. You probably already know this. Probably know the O'Brien family,
Oh,
right?
sure, of course.
I think Kevin just retired, but I knew his mother and father,
Dorothy,
Bill and Dorothy.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first came to town in the mid-'70s, they had the Coralville McDonald's.
Sure.
And they were always working. And I come to find out, I think it was, I could be wrong on the date, late 50s, but she went to Ray Kroc and was the first female franchisor of McDonald's.
That-
Dorothy O'Brien.
That is correct.
Yes.
And Bill and Dorothy, I was remiss, they were a part of getting the house, a huge part
Yeah.
of getting the house going too.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you
Great
remember how
people.
much money it was back then in 85?
I was trying to do some digging through our archives, and this don't quote me on this exactly, but I think it was around $800,000
Really?
to build it.
Yeah, couldn't do that today.
No, isn't that something? What can you get for $800,000
Not,
today?
not that. And tell us about the facility. How many rooms? How many people come in and out? Just give us a little idea on how large it is and
Sure.
what's going on there.
Sure. Our Ronald McDonald House here in Iowa City has 31 rooms, and that means that we have 31 families at a time staying with us. We are always full, and we always have a wait list. The house is laid out, you can kind of think of it like a big hotel, but a big friendly hotel with a lot of extras. So each family has their own private room, private bathroom, like you would imagine. And then we have these, common areas. There's a loft, there's a sunroom, great room. We've got a brand new kitchen we just remodeled. We want people to feel as at home as they can be when they can't be in their own place, their own home.
You could do laundry,
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right.
And everything is provided at no cost.
the food.
The food, the laundry, the lodging, the transportation.
Really?
We have, when you travel yourself and you forget the
Yeah.
toothbrush or something, well, these families sometimes are coming in drop of a hat, following
Right.
their child in on life flight, and they're not thinking about packing. So
right.
we've got gift cards to run to Target. We've got hair dryers. I think someone asked if we had a hair cutting kit for guys. We did. Someone had donated
Really?
that, so we gave that to a family. We try to take care of the everyday stresses so we can take those things off their plate and they can focus on what matters most, and that's their child.
So no cost. Let's talk about that because
Yeah.
a lot of things are income qualified or
Right.
this. If you have money, So the basic need is your child's sick.
Exactly.
Is that it?
There's only two requirements to be eligible to stay at a Ronald McDonald House. One is that you've got a child in medical care, and child is defined as 21 or younger.
Oh,
So most of our kiddos are little, but I
Yeah.
think right now we have a 16 and a 19-year-old staying with us. And the other requirement is that you have to live at least 20 miles away. And
Okay.
each chapter sets up that radius. And it isn't that we don't care about our folks that are right here around us, but obviously it's a little easier to go back and forth when
Right.
you've got that short drive than families that have, a few hours or are flying in.
So just those two requirements.
That's
I
it.
think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's say it is a life flight where it's a serious injury. How do they find you? How do they know? Do they just, how do you get the word out? Where does the hospital, the docs, ER, does people say you can stay here? How does that work?
Yes, yeah. We, the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, they're fantastic partners with us. We work closely with their team, with their social workers, and we've got information over at the hospital. We're constantly sharing that. But what we hope as much is that we're doing things like this
Right.
that get the word out so families know, no matter what city or town they're in, you may have a Ronald McDonald House right there. They're located by major children's hospitals. So that's a resource for you. And we want people to be aware of that and take advantage of that. And we hope that we can help.
And speaking of the Children's Hospital, what's better that they end of the first quarter of football games in Kinnick?
Oh,
Where
wow.
everybody turns and waves. I mean, that goes throughout ESPN. It's what I was known for now is the wave.
It's amazing. And we, some of our families who've gotten to be up on 12th and be a part
Yeah.
of that come back and they're just wide-eyed and they're
Right.
just so moved by the
Right.
fact that this entire community is in their corner.
Right. It only takes 20 seconds or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But it's just so cool, and the kids wave back.
It is so
I think it's the
neat.
neatest thing in football right now.
It really is. I love it.
It's
We
part
love
of
it.
the wave. What's the average stay with
I
what you're seeing?
just ran a report for the first couple months of the year, and we're sitting at about 20 days. And there's really a wide range. We have families that are coming maybe even for a follow-up checkup, so they're here a night or two. We've got families that are here for surgery that might be here a week, 10 days. We have a lot of NICU families, so babies that are born, early, and especially with the capabilities of Stead Family Children's Hospital, we draw families from all over the state and the Midwest with micro preemies, little kiddos born under a pound.
Right.
It's amazing. the care that our hospital has. And those families, you know, a NICU family staying 2, 3, 4 months easily.
Right.
Then we'll have transplant families whose kiddos on a wait list, and that can take, oh gosh, I'm thinking of one took 1.5 years to get a new heart. And so they stayed with us for 1.5 years.
Wow.
So this really does become home base for families with those longer stays especially.
That's amazing, 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So do you have counselors that help with you know, if they are really, really sick or if they pass away, or how do you
Sure.
work with the families that obviously that's a really difficult time when a child's sick?
It is. And we specifically do not have clinical staff on our team. That's intentional.
Okay.
But we have that support for our families through the hospital and the social workers. So we work very closely with the social workers. If a family comes to us and there's an additional need and it's not something we can do, we're connecting them. We're making sure they get to that resource. But our role is really to provide the hospitality side with the comfort and care side. We talk with families all the time. Just last night, I was talking with a mom who's here from Canada, and she's here by herself with her little kiddo who is going through clubfoot treatment through the castings and the surgeries.
Ponzetta, what is his name, right? Dr. Ponzetta?
Ponsetti, yes, it's the Ponsetti method. Yeah.
He
and
was fantastic.
Oh my gosh!
He
And
was the
Dr.
best.
Morquende, who is now, you know, it's one of those world-renowned things we have right here. We take for granted.
Yeah.
And so they did not have success at the start where they were at. His case is more complicated. So she came here. She's all by herself. Is coming from Canada, knows she has to come to Iowa City, is trying to figure out where that is on a map, plopped down here. They've been here, I think, 57 days so far. And we were talking last night, and she's so sweet and so kind, and was talking about how much this means to her that she's got other families she can connect with, that she's got a friendly staff, that she feels like she's got a safe place to be. You know, her husband's back in Canada. A lot of families can't bring everyone. They're welcome to. We welcome to bring the whole group to stay. But sometimes, you know, a parent's got to stay back and work or take care of a farm or something like that. And it's really, really hard. So if we can be that friendly face and that support when they're far away from home, you know, that's what we're all about.
That's amazing. Can you say you have rooms? Can you get 2 rooms, one family if you have several kids, or is just one room?
Just right now, it's just one room,
One room,
because we're
okay.
always full. Our rooms, we have rooms of different sizes. So some sleep 3 or 4. Our larger rooms sleep 6.
Oh, they do. Oh.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And when we have a bigger family come in, we work with, I think it's up to 14 different local hotels who are so good to us. They offer a rate to our families who are on the wait list or who can't get in that's even lower than the hospital rate.
Well, that's great.
And so it's not great, right? We wish we had space for everyone, but it's at least something temporarily until we can get them into the house.
That's a great story about the lady from Canada, because you wouldn't know anybody. You don't never even heard of Iowa City, probably.
No.
Here you are, fly down here or drive down, and you're by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a troubled time. You have surgeries and.
Everything's upside down. It's overwhelming. We had a family from Turkey who stayed with us a couple years ago, brought 2 or 3 of their kiddos and had a child in the hospital. And they were just a great family. The dad and I were talking when he first arrived, and he said, okay, I know we're in the Midwest. He said, we're figuring this out. He said, when things calm down a little, I'd like to take the kids to the ocean. And so we pulled out a map and had to break it to him about where we were from the ocean. And he was laughing about that. But we took him out, or got him out to the res in Lake McBride.
Yeah, it's close, right?
Yeah.
Or the Mississippi Ocean, right?
Yeah, exactly. That'll work too. But, you know, you think about it, you get the news that your child is sick and your whole world just stops.
right.
And all you're thinking about is that child. Then you find out you have to leave Cedar Rapids, North Liberty, Iowa City, your hometown, and go to another city or another state or another country. Just go there, and you don't even know for how long to get that medical care, and it's scary and it's overwhelming, and that's what we're here for. Ronald McDonald House Charities provides that place for families to just take a deep breath, to settle in, We'll take care of everything we can for you, and you can focus again, on your child and the medical path that's ahead of you.
You never have a bad day, then, do you? Because you're helping people every day.
It does feel good to know whether it's you see a mom come down at, early in the morning and there's hot coffee right there. Just something that simple makes a big difference.
Yeah, because your world is upside down when especially a child being sick. Anybody, actually.
Yes,
but, especially a child.
Especially.
Mm-hmm. So there's another Ronald McDonald House, and that's for adults right near Carver?
That actually is the American Cancer Society, the Jardine Hope Lodge.
And tell me about that. What's the difference?
Well, I don't know a whole lot, and they would be great guests on this show.
Right.
But they serve adult patients in oncology, so adult cancer patients. And my understanding is the adult patient and one adult caregiver can stay. And they're set up like we are in that they've got, great hospitality space and so forth.
So when are you adding on? You need more rooms.
I wish yesterday. We are in the midst of talking with the university about what's possible on our footprint of our land lease. They've been fantastic to work with. The university's growing. They're adding NICU beds. They've got a lot of things in the works. So we're hoping that we can do an expansion. I don't even want to put a timeline on it, but we're in the work with the architects. What could we do? Phase. So definitely stay tuned. There will be more to come there. That is one of the hardest parts of the job is when a family calls and we're full. And we're structured so when a family checks in, they can stay as long as their child's in care. We all know if you've had somebody in the hospital and they tell you, they're going to go home Tuesday morning and then it's Wednesday afternoon or they don't know sometimes. And so we can't take a set reservation like a hotel can because we don't know exactly when families are going to be out. And it's tough that way. That's why we have a wait list. But we hope it's a good thing, a comfort for families because once they get in their room, they don't have to worry about, oh gosh, we've got to be out in 2 weeks. And what if our child's treatment isn't done or they change, the treatment? You can just take a deep breath and relax. That space is yours as long as you need it.
So if you doubled your size, would that be enough?
For now.
Really?
I looked the other day, we had 12 families on our wait list. But what we know is those are 12 we know of.
Oh.
A lot of families know that we're full, so sometimes they'll just go straight to our hotel program. So we know the need is even bigger, and we've been tracking that. I remember one day, it was the first summer I was there, so it must have been 2016, 42 families on the wait list. That was more families than rooms that we have. So doubling would be a great start.
Good. And I imagine that would cost more than $850, right?
Yeah, we would love to think it would be $800,000, and that would buy part of it. But there will definitely be more to come there. We'll be reaching out to the community and asking for that support so that we can make this happen for families.
Let's talk about upcoming events and how you raise money. You want to talk about
that?
Is it the Red Shoe Run? That's Ronald McDonald, right?
Yes, the Red Shoe Run. Yeah. Well, first of all, one thing that people often don't know, and we don't blame them because of our name, but they think that we are entirely funded by McDonald's. Right. And we do receive support from McDonald's. It accounts for about 15% of our budget. We couldn't do what we do without them. But we are privately funded entirely, and we rely on donations and revenue from special events and all the gifts that other nonprofits are working for as well.
What's your budget a year?
$1.8 million.
Wow. And it's all privately funded?
All privately funded.
Partially McDonald's, and the rest people just write checks?
Yes. No county money, federal, state, no
That's
United Way
amazing.
money. We just sort of make it, well, I say we. The credit goes to our donors in the community, people all over the world, but the corridor is tremendously generous and supportive to us. We've got big hearts in this area.
So $1.8 million, that's just to maintain the property. That's not growing it, not building another building.
Right.
Or adding on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And our events are a big part of that. Coming up is our Red Shoe Run, like you mentioned. It's really fun. We hold this in Lower City Park. This is our 40th year of this event. And it's a 5K, but you don't have to be a runner. I know Austin is going to be running in
Right,
this.
right.
Is that
He's
correct?
going to be out front. We got to get his picture.
Leading, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
We expect a first
Right,
place
right.
finish.
He's
But
got to wear the big red shoes too. when he's
yes,
running,
that
so,
won't
yeah.
slow you down at all.
Right, right.
But it's a great event if you're a serious runner or power walker, or you just want to get some, be outside in fresh air and contribute to a cause. It's a 5K runner walk. Families are welcome. Dogs, strollers, bring your crew, and it helps to raise funds for us. Afterwards, this year, we are having a free lunch for everybody, all the participants. The Defenders Motorcycle Club, I don't know if you've heard of them. They are providing their grilling and providing the meal for us, for anybody that's there. And last year we had about 600
Really?
participants, so it's going to be a big lunch
At City Park.
at Lower City Park.
I remember doing it a few times. Wasn't it a 10K or half marathon?
Yes,
Or 10 miles?
It used to be, we did the 5K and the half marathon, and
Yeah.
it used to start at the Ronald McDonald House.
Right by Carver Hawk. I remember that.
Yes. COVID changed that for us because
Yeah.
when we couldn't have events on university property while everyone was kind of, figuring out what's what, we knew we didn't want to take a year off. So we talked to the city and they were great to work with, and we moved it to Lower City Park, and it was so successful we've kept it there.
Tell us about COVID, your staff,
Oh gosh,
the
yeah.
families, what you went through for a year and a half.
Yeah. And, we talk about what we went through. We know what the hospital went through. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't say enough about the healthcare workers and,
Right.
and police, firemen, everybody that was involved. What was interesting is my husband and I were on vacation the week before it hit, so to speak. It was that first week of March. We're out in Arizona having our vacation. We're watching the news. We're hearing, what's happening. And we were some of the last flights to be able to get back before they shut down air travel. Got back. Our team had been, following everything, trying to figure everything out. And what we knew, number one, is safety, right? What is this? What is this about? How do we keep our families safe? Because they've got a sick child already. The last thing that we want is, to have them impacted by COVID directly. So we worked with our global Ronald McDonald House Charities organization. So they're kind of the governing body of all Ronald McDonald houses. And they stepped up and tried to, like anybody, figure out what's going on and provide some guidance. But the chapters did have to close for a while, and we had to close for 2.5 months.
Oh, really?
So that was really tough because we had families staying with us, and to say, hey, this is happening. We can't have this as a resource for you right now. It was awful. But what was fantastic was partnering with the hospital, figuring out a plan. Who could stay in the child's room? Can we get them in a hotel? Even hotels at that time, if you remember, were shutting, and we did the best we could with getting families, to the next place to stay. And then as soon as we could open up again, even though we couldn't open at 100%, we just started working to get families in and get going again, because COVID, pandemic, world event, nothing stops or slows down kids from getting sick.
Right.
That kept happening. Yeah. So it was a tough time, but our team did a great job. I mean, everybody knows what that time was like.
Yeah.
It was difficult for all.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Let's go back. We got the Red Run. What other fundraisers?
Yeah.
Do you have a golf tournament? Or?
Red Shoe Run, which is the first Sunday in May, by the way. We have the For the Families, FORE, which is a word I yell a lot when I'm golfing.
Right.
For the Families Golf Tournament, that is the first Monday in June. That's held at Finkbine.
Okay.
If you're interested in the Red Shoe Run or For the Families, you can sign up through our website. And because we have that long name, we have a long acronym, I always tell folks, just Google Ronald McDonald House of Iowa City, and you'll find us.
Okay.
But that's another great fundraiser, longstanding tradition. We partner with Iowa City Noon Rotary. They do a great job with us. That event has raised cumulatively over number of years, over $1 million for our charity, which is fantastic. And it's fun. It's Finkbine. It's golf. It's a great day.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a board of directors?
We sure do. We have a fantastic board. We actually had a board meeting yesterday.
Really?
So just got to see everyone. If you're interested to see who serves on our board, we post pictures, and that information's on our website. We've got a great group. A lot of local folks. We've got folks from the Quad Cities, Charles City, kind of all over. And we try to find folks that are passionate about the cause, but also who can help us, who have expertise maybe in facilities or banking, and we've got a great group right now. Our board is so supportive, and they're a fantastic bunch.
There's a lot of nonprofits around, and I think there's 250, 300 just in Johnson County, which is amazing to me. But to think about the Ronald McDonald House and what you do, and that you're not receiving any funding other than private donations, I think is amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
And the mission to the families and how you because you're completely in shock when something happens to a child or anybody, and you come to the hospital, you don't know how to navigate it, even where to park, how to get in and out of the hospital. It's difficult. It sounds strange, but it's not easy. You got to, trying to which floor, how to get where.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you can come home, and it's something like a home. And you got great people to be around it. What a mission. It's a great mission.
And the other thing, speaking of the hospitals, that people don't know about us, you know about the Ronald McDonald House, and it's kind of the flagship program of Chapters, but we also operate 2 other programs, Ronald McDonald Family Rooms. And it's not one room. It's kind of an area or space. They are located right inside hospitals. So we have one inside the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital on the 3rd floor on the PICU, the Peds Intensive Care Unit, and we operate one at Unity Point St. Luke's in Cedar Rapids.
Good.
And what they are, it's kind of like a mini house right inside the hospital. So you're on your child's floor. You're spending all day with them, right, in their room. Families are hesitant to even run downstairs to the cafeteria to get a cup of coffee. What if the doctor comes in then? Or what if something happens with their child? So our family rooms, they can just walk, just down the hall, and there's a meal, snack, coffees. You can make a phone call kind of in a quiet space if you need to. We have sleep rooms if you need to take a nap because you're up all night with your child. Some families can stay overnight there. There's only a few sleep rooms. It's not anything like the house in terms of number of beds. There's a shower suite. Go take a hot shower. Try to refresh, recharge. We just really try to take care of the families. But those family rooms are right there in the hospital. And we're trying to get the word out about that because any funding that we bring in is supporting our house and our family rooms too.
Well, part of being in a hospital is you never know when you're going to be able to see a doc, maybe
Exactly.
between surgery. They come in and out, and you're just sitting in a waiting room. It's not comfortable. So anything you can do to make people more comfortable because it's agonizing because you don't know what's going on, how they're getting along. Even when they're in surgery, what are you doing during that?
Right.
Prancing, doing whatever. So
and
those
families,
are all neat things.
Parents lose track of time.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a loved one in the hospital, everything kind of blurs together.
Yeah.
They'll lose track of time. They'll forget to take care of themselves.
Right.
Say, when did you last eat?
Right.
I don't know. And so we're right there.
Right.
Grab something, get back to your child, but make sure that you're taking care of yourself too.
So what keeps you up at night?
Short term, lack of space. What keeps me up is that we can't accommodate every family, and that having to say, hey, I'm sorry, not yet. We'll get you in as soon as we can. I think long term, what keeps me up at night is seeing what families go through with a sick child and realizing how fortunate, it's humbling to see what families are dealing with, coping with. We've had families come in who have a child with cancer and the treatment is successful and they're doing well. And then we had a family that just came back that there's a new problem with the child's liver. I mean, it's kind of how much can these families take? It just, it's heavy. But the part that feels good is knowing if kids are getting sick and these unfair, awful things are happening to families, if I can be a part of an organization that is helping in any way, from the smallest to, something big, financial stress and emotional stress, then that feels great.
Yeah, it's just like dealing with kids with cancer. I mean, they're in constant pain. And if they're using chemo, they're probably sick. And to go in every day and see a sick child, I mean, that's a really difficult thing.
It's so unfair. And our staff does such a great job. It's a lot on the staff to be, you're working with families in crisis. No one is coming to stay with us because it's a VRBO and it's just something they want to do. no one wants to be there. And the greatest days are where we had a family yesterday that came in and they said, we get to go home and their child's doing great. And we celebrate that.
Right.
But we just have a great team and a great board.
What's your greatest accomplishment, do you think, by
Ooh.
being at the Ronald McDonald House?
As of late, I would say, oh gosh, there's a lot of things, but the one that's front and center in my head is a simple thing, but we just remodeled the house. And that sounds like, well, what is that? You physically remodeled space, but it mattered. We refreshed the house, built in 85, had some 85 touches in it still, made it, fresh and modern and comfortable for families. And to see families come back, especially those who had stayed with us before and come in and kind of go, oh, this is so nice. You did this for us. It just has felt really good. And to have this brand new kitchen where families come in and they say, this is our space. We can use this. And they see volunteer meal groups coming in who care about them and are preparing dinner every night. That refresh is bigger than just fresh paint and new flooring. It's really had an impact, and it lets the families know that, this isn't just here's a place to stay, but we care about it being a great place to stay for you.
Well, I hope that's listening can contribute to the Ronald McDonald House.
I do too.
Yeah, it's what a better cause. Hopefully we can post your website and maybe your upcoming events. I think we can do that. That'd be great.
That would be great.
And what else would you like to tell us about other than you need to raise money, right?
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Well, and not just money. We need things.
Okay.
So
tell us about that.
Think about your grocery bill at your own house, or if you run to Costco and you've got to get your toilet paper and paper towels. And now picture that for 31 families at a time. We need supplies.
Right.
And we always keep we call it a wish list on our website.
Okay.
And there's two ways you can give. If you want to just go to Costco and collect some extra stuff and bring that on over to the house, that's fantastic. But also, in this day and age, Amazon is so convenient. So we keep an Amazon list as well. So you can just sit in the comfort of your home and pick out a few, Swiffer refills and snacks maybe, and have those sent directly to the house. We go through so many supplies with our families. That's a huge help if someone's interested in supporting us.
Great. And then as far as writing a check, you can just send it to you or
call
you, or how does...
We try to make it as easy as possible for folks to support us. If you like to give online, you can do that through our website.
Okay.
If you want to mail in a check, you can do that. Our address is on the website. Some folks like to call and do a gift in that way. We have folks that do IRA distributions, planned giving, recurring through their payroll deduct. There's so many ways. And those payroll deductions, it's crazy. You set aside $25 or $30 a check and you don't really know, but that adds up so quickly for us. It's a quick, easy way for people to give, and it you end up giving a lot of money, but you don't feel it all at once, so to speak, which a lot of folks who are trying to balance their budget, that's a nice way for them to give if they wish.
You had anybody do some estate planning and leave you that after they pass?
Yes.
That's good.
We've had some estates in the last few years, and talk about a wonderful gift to find out that somebody had thought of you and thought of our families and included us in that last really generous support.
Well, hopefully now people know what the Ronald McDonald House is.
I hope so.
If you don't, go over there and ring the doorbell and ask for Shannon.
Exactly.
Right?
Ring the doorbell. We love to have people stop over for a tour.
Right.
Just reach out. We've got, there's kind of an info email you'll see on the website, or just call any of us, any of our team. Come on over. We'd love to show you more. We'd love to have you come make a meal, volunteer, come to our events, get involved in any way you can, because last year we served over 3,000 people in our family rooms.
Wow.
And we had just under 2,000 people stay with us at the house. So this is big. It's a little charity, in terms of we don't have the biggest budget and we don't have a 300-room house, but we are really impacting families. We're really proud of that.
Well, it's amazing what you guys do. So we're very proud of what you do. What a great facility, what great people. I know when I went through it, it was amazing. We were there just 20, 30 minutes, but I'd never really been inside.
Sure.
And the new kitchen and all the remodeling, it was fantastic. I like the playground out back because other kids that are sick, if you bring
Yes.
your siblings, they have an area they can go play. So
A lot of times people forget about the siblings.
the other kids, yeah.
Mom and dad are coming. They've got
Yeah.
a child in the hospital, but there's 2 or 3 little brothers and
Right.
sisters.
They miss their siblings. or
Yes.
siblings.
We try to keep it fun, keep
Yeah,
activities and things for those kids.
Anything else you want to share? It's been
Oh
fantastic.
gosh.
Anything else?
I'm
you could think of?
sure when I leave, I'll think, oh,
go,
I should
"Oh."
have said this, that, and the other. But we just really are looking to spread the word about what we do so that it isn't just, oh, there's that brown brick building when
Right.
I go to a game at Carver, but people
Right.
understand that this is a living, breathing, vibrant organization. And we've got families, 31 families right now are there. And
Great.
we're always needing support to keep that going.
Fantastic. Shannon Greene, Ronald McDonald House, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in today and sharing your story.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank
bet.
you.
Thank